Solutions Review is on location at Boomi World in Las Vegas. Brought to you by Dell Boomi.
We are here at Boomi World 2018 in Las Vegas. I'm Doug Atkinson, and I am joined by Chandan Mishra from Deloitte, a manager at Deloitte who has brought with him lots of customer stories because ultimately Deloitte's famous for their implementations. And one of the ones that we were just chatting about that I thought was particularly interesting was an M&A story and how people might not think of integration platforms as a service as an M&A story. You've actually got a nice one.
Well, thank you, Doug, and thank you for interviewing me. It's a very interesting concept. Thinking of when you go back in time, when you look at how the software world evolved, and we came to this stage today, middleware or integration wasn't playing a key pivotal role. But as we go today towards a modern transformative enterprise, we're looking at these different disparate systems and customers moving from their legacy world into the cloud. Now, when they're moving into the cloud, they're realizing the value of an integrated ecosystem. And when they're realizing the value of the integrated ecosystem, they need integration. And that's where strategic partners like Dell Boomi come into play. And that's the story I wanted to talk about in terms of an M&A journey where one of our customers, one of our key partners, so as we like to speak, wanted to carve out a new ecosystem or a new company and go full cloud, which means run their entire business operations in the cloud. And they had 25 different SaaS applications. They wanted to stitch it together, and they partnered with Dell Boomi to build these integration solutions together, and we, as a solution provider, help them stitch this together.
So what makes it interesting is it's a greenfield opportunity, right?
Correct.
You've spun something out. Mm-hmm. There are resources behind it, so you can do pretty much almost anything you want. You still have some legacy applications that you have to connect.
Correct.
But you want to be 100% cloud.
Yes.
I think that's a really interesting implementation story.
Absolutely, and the journey starts from different aspects. Number one, we look at different business processes where we want to automate the order to cash lifecycle. We want to look at the procure to pay lifecycle, the hire to retire lifecycle. We stitch them all together. We bring these interconnected systems so that they start working in unison. One of the pretty complicated use case I've seen a lot is you have your CPQ or your quoting system sitting in a different cloud ecosystem. You have your subscription management system, which is a different cloud ecosystem. So it's built for that particular product. And then you have your invoicing system, your core ERP system sitting somewhere else. And you need to stitch together these disparate systems with different business processes and evolving business processes. The business processes that should evolve and allow you to load products, to enable different services, and that is across the enterprise, giving you an inside 360-degree customer view. And what we are seeing as a trend and what we are enabling our customers with is stitching together these different systems for those different business processes. And we are seeing tremendous success with using Dell Boomi as a partner doing that.
Well, so when you speak to a customer and they're presenting you with this challenge that they have, what are some of the first steps that you take to try to understand the directions they might want to take? I mean, obviously, you're looking for a solution that's reliable, but I'm curious about what your advice is.
Absolutely.
As they start the process.
It's a very good question. So from a Deloitte perspective, as Deloitte, we look at our customers from three different angles, from a broad angle. We look at advice, we look at implement, and we look at operate. Now let me demystify that for you. Advice is advising my customer to take forward this journey where there's a particular use case and a return on investment or value. In this particular M&A use case, what we did advise a customer is to take a look at your current application stack, segregate your new corporation or new co like we call it, and then move all of your capital expenditure into your operational expenditure by moving to the cloud. So a typical, if I'm looking at a ground-up checklist operation, guidebook or field book, if I put it across, is to look at our customer and tell them, hey, this is your journey. and you need to go through XYZ steps to enable that journey. The number one step being look at your current application stack, look at what your future application looks like and what it can help cater to, what it won't do for you. That's also a very important point, because in this journey, people generally tend to forget that a lot of these legacy applications have a lot of underlying business processes that might not be ready for the cloud. So there is a near possible chance that you would want to stitch together these different business processes, including legacy systems and other systems. Go ahead, Doug.
Well, and that's ultimately the binding constraint, if you will, in that everything's moving to the cloud.
Yes.
There's no, you can't pretend like, oh, that's just the passing fancy. You're going to the cloud, and so you have to get prepared, whether you like it or not.
Well, I wouldn't say that way. So let me give you an example. Very good point, but let me give you an example. I mean, for me, it depends from industries to industries. Maybe if I'm looking at from the use case that I'm talking about is from, information services based industry. And in that particular industry, maybe if you're looking at, hey, you don't need a hybrid implementation, but healthcare, for instance, and I'm not the industry expert here, but there are folks from my organization who will help you with that. Healthcare is extremely critical patient data. You wouldn't want that data to reside on the cloud with the appropriate security measures in place. Now, we do have our risk and advisory practice that comes into play in Deloitte that helps you assess that information. But having said that, moving to the cloud is a journey, and we need to figure out what components or what strategically we can move to the cloud faster. For example, the CRM and the sales data moving to the cloud gives you tremendous potential to unlock that data across the enterprise, because your sales representatives, your field agents, they get that data immediately on the fly on their cell phone. But when you look at, finance data, those are a little bit more sensitive, if I may say. And we want to make sure that that journey to the cloud is secure, is scalable.
And compliant.
And compliant, yes, perfect point, and compliant.
Right. Well, and that's it, isn't it? It's everybody's case, and you guys are, the master of dealing with anomalous
Ecosystems, yes.
implementations.
Yes. Ecosystems implementations. So we're demystifying again it for you. Very simple. It's people and process, data and systems.
Right.
So we look at three different aspects across a life cycle, if that makes sense.
So if you were to give one piece of advice today to somebody who's facing this decision around how they're going to move toward an integration platform, what would you give?
Well, the first and the most, I would probably throw in a couple of advices here. One of the first and most important thing is, what does your integration roadmap look like? What are you trying to unlock as a part of the integration? Is it, is it modernization of your application platforms? If that is the use case, does really integration solve your problem, right? Or is it stitching together multiple disparate business processes to provide an end-to-end result? So first, from the CXO perspective, or from the CIO, or from the CTO, or the vice presidents of technologies out there, they need to make that use case or the return on investment that I'm going to invest in an integration platform, what potential benefit it could unlock. And not necessarily that one platform solves all problems, right? But what is the most value add? So you basically, what we do is Deloitte is ask our engagement partners, our customers, to go through a cycle of assessments across each vendors, and there we see potential benefits of using one platform versus the other in a particular use case. In our use cases that we talk about in typical, post-merger integration initiatives, we have seen tremendous potential value of where we have leveraged Boomi as our go-to choice of platform. And as Deloitte, we have partnered up with all of the platforms in the world, but Boomi is a very specific partner to us. It's a very special relationship, and we enjoy sharing this relationship with Boomi because our ecosystem thrives together as partners. We go to market together, we do leverage our solutions together, we have dedicated practice, around 400 plus practitioners across the globe from a Deloitte perspective who cater to Boomi, and we have a separate set of what we call as a center of excellence that we specifically churn out solutions for using Dell Boomi as a solution. So hope that kind of gives you a sense of the roadmap. that we would advise our customers.
It's a great answer and one I would expect from a Deloitte professional. So well done.
Thank you so much, Doug, and you have a great day.
Well, thanks for swinging by and sharing the insight. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Alrighty.
Doug.